of the second paragraph. So the Shaili is addressing is, you have to understand, the basic question is to understand what all called basar, why that's the Iker Gila Likus. So he's addressing this in layers. And what does it mean? He's asking, how is it going to be the connection between the guf and the nefesh and Ilam Haba? This is all after having explained earlier that the kavana is Hasheves Yitzora and Hashem Einoid, that Elikus be revealed, bis Yashvus, which means not overwhelmed, but one with creation. And it all begins with Oedis and Kelim, Neshama and Guf. That's, of course, the key to this whole, the Guf singular Likus. So you have to understand what that means. So how is it possible, he asked, that there be a connection between the Guf and the Nefesh and the Elam HaTchiyah without food and drink? As he says, the halachas, the Ramban, the Achra, the decisions like the Ramban, that Elam Haba, that Ein Be'le Achila V'le Shtia, that's notwithstanding there is a guf. Not that there's no guf, as the Ramban says. If there's no guf, what's the chiddush? Ein Be'le Achila V'le Shtia. The chiddush is that there is a guf and still no achil or shtia, because the guf is nen in miziv hashchin. So how does a guf gashmi have ano and grow, as it were, whatever, exist miziv hashchin? They're opposites. The guf is drawn downwards. The nefesh habamis is drawn downwards. Even he said Eliyahu Navi's guf that was so refined that he ascended l'mayla, but that was a limit. It was only l'mayitzira. Moishe Rabbeinu, that 40 days didn't eat or drink, and was nizim miziv hashchina. So even Moishe Rabbeinu was nitztayer, and he was rewarded for it. He was pained and rewarded. And moreover, he adds that he only, says in Svarim, that he only ascended, he left his body behind in Ilam Haitzir, and then he ascended to Mekabel the Torah. So we see even a guf of Moishe Rabbeinu, that when he was born, even such a guf as a mania is an obstacle to be Mekabel the Torah. And that's why Gan Eden is only for Neshamas, not gufim. That even a guf after zichuch, the mirror and zichuch that a guf would undergo, still can't enter Gan Eden. So let's continue about Bezeh Tzarich L'Hav, and we'll go back to the number 33 in the text. The number 33, or 33, that next line. So this is all strengthening your question. So how will it be in Ilam Haba and Ilam HaTchiyah? It'll be the Neshamas and Gufim. Gan Eden can't tolerate the Guf, and this is immeasurably higher. And yes, now where do we see it's immeasurably higher? Even though the in Gan Eden ascending daily more than 3,000 years. So they'll have to be invested in a guf, come back in order to experience Elam Haba, which is not a punishment, obviously. It's a tremendous aliyah. More detail now. And in detail, I think I told you that the Shloshim, Chaim, maybe you remember the Shloshim of Zaidi, of the Menashe title, my Shvei's father, who was a iconic figure in this city and involved in the establishment of all Torah Meisdes after the war. So his Shloshim, his value was huge, and the Shloshim in the house was overflowing from Yitvish, Chsidish, everybody, who were all frequent visitors to his home. And I spoke, and I mentioned this Nakuda. that Tchias HaMeisim is higher, that the Neshama Dafka in the Guf is higher than Gan Eden, and that's the Tachlis did it b'tachtonim. This was, and this Raya that it's not a punishment to the others that are going to come back into Guf after being 3,000 years elevating ever higher in Gan Eden is indicative of the Kavod and the connection to the Eibush himself is Dafka in the Guf Lamata. I remember it was quite it made a lot of waves, and people were in shock. But that's good. Okay, let's go further. In more detail, we have to understand a few things. What's the Yisra and the advantage and the virtue of the Guf that in him will be the greatest Gila of Ilam Haba. What's the inference? The inference is that Neshama alone without the Guf Kameishi began Daden, does Neshama experience as Gan Daden? In any Yechayel the Kabul Gilis, I cannot accept, will not be able to receive the great Gila of Ilam Haba of Tchias HaMeisim. It has to. This is astonishing that the neshama itself cannot experience the deepest levels of Alikus, dafka being only in a guf. Based on second point, we're asking both on the neshama and the guf. The neshama needs the guf to know the Eibishter, and the guf. How does the guf receive this great gila? Is concluding the question. The questions of our whole puzzlement here. Since the guf cannot be makabel the gil of Gan Eden, which is lower, and surely it can't receive Elam Haba, which is incomparably greater than Gan Eden, which is why the others are coming to experience it. And the third question is summarizing. It's the shaylis. How can a body endure without food and drink? Now, understand by first addressing the difference between the body and the soul, the animating soul, not only with as it is in a person, but in all creations. All existence have a body and an animating soul. And in brackets he adds, even the inanimate has a nefesh and a guf. Of course, this was okay. So this says so, makabalit. But thanks again to contemporary science, we know there's tremendous energies going on in the doimim, the atom and the subatomic particles, and tremendous energy can destroy a world. The atom. Another illustration of how contemporary science has prophesied in the Zohar, science will abet and aid in the understanding of Elikus. So what is it? Bring now to the core of it. So what's the source of the nefashis of all creations? So the source is Midalet Chayes HaMerkava, the four creatures, the four Chayes of the Merkava of the chariot, as described in vivid detail by Yecheskel, which he will now tell us. It's explained in that Maimer of the Alter Rebbe, was just published then. This was referred to earlier. In the earlier Maamar, just came out. So there he says, all living creatures get their life force. That's the image of a lion that of the Merkava, which Yecheskel describes of being on the right side. Hence we see all chayes, all chayes means not the opposite behemoths, no chayes, not cattle and livestock, but chayes.
Domesticated?
No, not
animals.
Domesticated. No. Wild animals. Wild animals. Chayes, wild animals. So they all have the teb of zerizus of energy, high energy.
Are you speaking about treif or non-treif? Are you speaking about like a deer or are you speaking about like predators?
Both. Everything. They're all called chayes. So they come from the yamin, so there's kosher, there's not kosher, but they come from the yamin. The yamin is gilui, and they come from the aryeh, which is high energy. The lion, mitam zeh, they're called chayes because they have tremendous energy. Wild. All wild creatures, as opposed to domesticated. Huh? No, it's not. No, he just says in that mind, he explains it. Yeah. And the teva, the nefesh of all behemoths is from the image of the ox that he sees on the left side. We don't see their alacrity, energy, but tremendous power. That is in behemoths dafke. There are many yields of a crop in the power of an ox, much more than a person could elicit from the field. But alacrity, quickness, haste, that's not the mile. The mile is gvuda. Then the fourth image he sees is the eagle, and that's the source of all birds. Finally, and the source of man, he's talking humanity. We play Admo it's from the image of the Admo of the Merkava. I don't know the answer to fish, insects, etc. Lawyer there. Maybe it's addressed somewhere. And Mrs. Fish is discussed here, their source is a higher place. Insects, I don't know. The Shadish, the Shamas Israel, reptiles and what have you. It could be that they are Shkotzim or Moshim, they're a lower level, that's from Klippa. He describes the Klippa Sneg, a lower Klippa, could be the sources from a lower source. Because all of these things here, the highest, there's many amongst them which are kosher. That could be. He describes also the Noiga, the Gimel Klippas Atmeis, it's all described there. Klippas Noiga, Gimel Klippas Atmeis, the storm, the wind, the fire describes there. So for Shadish Neshamas Israel, so this is all creation. The Shadish Neshamas Israel, the Bechinas Adam Elyon Shalakise. The Shadish Neshamas Israel is the Adam Elyon that is atop of the throne of the Merkava. The throne which is on top of the Merkava. V'haino never shalikis. We're talking never shalikis. Shimi Bechinas Val the Musa Kise. The words he describes it on the image of the Kise is the Muskimari Adam. All of Milamayla. There's an image he describes of a person above it. That's Bechlal, that's a Svidus.
A quick little question. In the beginning, he says,
yeah.
And by number 34, he says the Sherish and the Foshes come from the Dalit Chayes of the Merkava. And he only mentions 3 Chayes, Aryeh, Behema, and Nesher.
No, then Adam.
But Adam is not a Chaya. That's my question.
No, the last
he says Sherish and the Foshes of the Vroim is Medalit Chayes Merkava, and he includes Adam. Question: why is Adam Chaya?
It's never Shabahamis. If we're talking the human soul, never Shabahamis. Also, in the general, it's called the Dalit Chayes. That's what it's called. The general term.
There's 2 Adams.
There's the Adam, yes, there's Adam Alaki, there's the Adam, which is one of the images of the Merkava, and then there's on top of it is the Kisa, and on top of that is the Adam Elyon. We're clear? So there's 4 images, Pnei Sheh, Pnei Aryeh, Pnei Adam, and Pnei Nesher. Then there's the Kisa, and then there's Adam Elyon on the Kisa. So the lower Adam is humanity, and the Adam Elyon is the Shamas Yisrael. The higher Adam, the Adam Elyon, Adam Atem. It's a pasuk. that Yidna called Adam, Atem Kroim Adam. That Yidna called Adam. Why Yidden? Hashem, Al Dam El Elyon. The word Adam means similar to the Adam Elyon. Here we learn that Adam Kiyomas Ba'el, that only a Yid imparts impurity in death. The body of a non-Jew doesn't. Midday Raisa, Rabbana made various levels of tumah. Because Atim Adam Kiyomas Ba'el, Atim Kurim Adam, that's based on another pasuk elsewhere that Adam, my sheep, Hashem describes them, Tzaini Atem, Adam, referring to the Jewish people. Anyway, the context there is Atem Kroim Adam. Why? So the Shalah says, why Yidden? Because the word Adam is on the one hand Adama, earth. On the other hand, Adam is similar to. It's implying the neshama comes from alien, but comes where? Into Adam, into earth. That's the two meanings of Chilek Elakam Yimal. Mamish comes into the mamoshes of the guf, and mamish means touch, but also mamish goes on mimal. It's mamish alikus that comes into the mamoshes of the world. That's also in the world, into the guf. That's also implied in the word Adam, earth, and Adam el Elyon. Fish agam the Milo. So what's Adam Elyon? What is it? The Milo. Fish agam the Milo yeshtem b'chinas hamachivorim the Malka. Because the Milo there is the 248 limbs of the king who connect them with the machivorim shebadam atachton. We the 248 limbs and Adam atachton correspondingly so. So there is the Adam Elyon. And how does the earthly man connect with the supernal man, as it were, with the likus? It's through Torah, which is called Adam. You're referring that to what? I'm sorry. I just mentioned, yeah. Zois HaTorah Adam ki Yomas Ba'el. Zois HaTorah Adam, so the deeper teaches here. What is the Torah? Adam. The Adam reflects the person. Namely, the Moishe Adam called by the Machi Varv Sagidim, like he has 248 limbs and 368 arteries, veins. Torah also, this Torah is reflected in the person. He also has, the Torah has like him, the Ramach mitzvah and the Shasam mitzvah. So concluding, that's the shirish of the never shalikis. Oh, sorry, I stand corrected. Oh, sorry, not corrected. Al never shabaham is shorshim b'chinas pnei shoir, as we said, shebe pnei adam. You have to understand what that means. The pnei shoir is shebe pnei adam. That's pnei shoir within pnei adam. I have to look into that further, but generally, pnei shoir is the shoirish, as I said before, of the Merkava. You know what? Let's take out the Shavuos Yecheskel. It's when it is Shavuos.
So who's the Adam that's in the Merkava?
Pardon?
The Adam in the Merkava that we mentioned before.
Yeah, but it's above. It's above. 1 second. Sorry, this is very basic. Okay, so Arba Chayis, yeah, Ve'eda, and I saw I can read it in English. And I saw the image of 4 chayes, and this was the appearance. They had a figure of a man. Each had 4 faces, and each had 4 wings. Their legs were straight legs. Okay, so that's the pshat. There is the general image is a man, and in the man is Pnei Shor, Pnei Aryeh, Pnei this, Pnei that. And then on top of it, the image of the faces was the face of man, the face of a lion, on its right, and then ox on the left, eagle. And so there's an incredible description. And then on top of it all, is the kisei, is the throne. On top of the throne is the Musa Adam, as we said. So these chayes are all also within Adam.
There's 3 stages. There's the 4.
There's the highest, there's the kisei, and there's the Adam Elyon. That's right.
So there's no Adam in the first one.
Yeah, they're all part of an Adam too. They're all the image of a person. Within
I think it's part of one. They're not, from what you're saying, they're not separated. Like,
what's not?
the first level, the Adam is like integrated with all these different.
Yeah. There's 4 faces in each one. It's hard to make a picture out of it, but they're going in circles and they're round, and the angels are wings outstretched. But that's the general idea.
Is he differentiating between Adam, regular people, and the Shamis of Yidden? Is that a diuk?
Yes, the Adam
from here, Brazil, because from what he explained in the beginning of the ice, it seems like there's an Adam Hamadaber comes from Pnei Adam, and the Shirsh of the Neshamas Yisrael comes from Ha'elyon Alakise. So he's differentiating between regular people and Yidden.
Yes,
regular people.
He's saying the Nefesh Bahamis comes from Pnei Shor of Pnei Adam, and the Neshama from the Adam Elyon. That's what he's saying. The Nefesh Bahamis we share with humanity. That makes us human. Yeah.
So what's the diuk at the end of the ice? Avol nefesh habahamis sharshim b'chinas pnei shur shiba pnei adam.
As opposed to the neshama, which is the Adam Elyon.
Shalakisei.
Shalakisei, right.
We got to get this straight in order to understand this further.
Okay, that's not what's not straight. What's not straight?
What is the Pnei Adam below the Kisei?
That image accompanies all of the other images. Here's a direct quote.
Is it a separate one, or
it's both
infused?
Both.
He says there's Dalet Chayis, which means that there is a Pnei Adam below the Kisei, along with the 3 animals, with 2 animals and 1 bird, and a Nesher, and then there's an Adam above.
Yes, but the images of the Chayis are all part of a person's image. Listen to the 4 Chayis, and this was their appearance. They had the figure of a man. So that's the Pnei Adam. Each had 4 faces, each had 4 wings. They had straight legs, and their feet were like round feet. They sparkled like burnished copper. They had human hands under their wings on their 4 sides. And the faces and the wings of the 4 of them were identical. The wings were joined, and the images of the faces was the face of a man and the face of a lion on its right. The 4, that's 4 somehow. Then the face of an ox on the left, and that's 4. The face of an eagle, and that's 4.
So was it like a segel, and the Adam was in the middle of it all?
Yeah, I can't give you bagash, but I don't know exactly what, but that's the general idea. These 4 chayas below of the Merkava are all bound up, all part. They all had a man's image, all of them. So, and it's not just Pnei Shosh and Pnei Adam, it's Pnei Arya Sheba Pnei Adam, it's Pnei Nesha Sheba Pnei Adam. This is the Adam HaTachten, Lamaila. Then there's the Kissin and there's Adam Elyon. Now the source of the Nefesh HaBahamis is from the Pnei Shosh and Pnei Adam. I know that makes a lot of questions, but that's. Are we clear or not? For our purposes. Yes? Can we go further or not? Are we still like we're like
Nothing to discuss about.
the end he says then he sees above the heads of all of these chayes is the Musa Kisei, and at the Musa Kisei, the Mus Kamari Adam all of Milamayl. Clear? So three things. There's the chayes. All those chayes all have an Adam's image integral to them. They look human, but they're chayes. Then there's the Kisei, and on top of the Kisei is the Adam Elyon. That's the general picture. Now, what is he saying? The Nefesh HaBahamis comes from the Pnei Shosh Sheba Pnei Adam. So even though here I hear the problem, even though you said before, V'shesh Nefesh Adam HaMedaber Mipnei Adam Sheba Merkava, in more detail that means the Pnei Shosh Sheba Pnei Adam. You're just adding more detail. That's what that means. That's the confusion.
It's interesting that the Nefesh HaBahamis pulls its quality from the shell part, and not from all of the elements of the like a shell.
Yeah, but even though, nonetheless, elsewhere in Chassidus we find, and speaking about Nefesh HaBahamis, the Proteus, it speaks about all the things. No, I'm sorry, qualified. The oifis is the Nefesh HaSichlis of the Nefesh HaBahamis. That's the bird. That's the bird. The ikid is the shor. That's its main, but also the Nefesh HaSichlis. And what is the? There's also the Nefesh HaBahamis. Look, a person is a microcosm, Adam HaTachten, Adam Elyon. So there's also the unit of the Ari as well. But the ikad Nefesh HaBahamis is a behemoth. It's the ikad. There's also the bird property. And there's also the lion property.
Like the four elements.
Like they do correspond to the four elements, yeah. So the lion property is, someone said to me the other day, they just stirred the lion within me. I guess when agitated, when needed, leadership, highest. I know, I'm just suggesting this may not be true, but it seems to me that the Ikar Nefesh HaBahamis is the animal just happy to graze. We're not, being energetic is not natural. It's a property we have when necessary. But we're, I think, more naturally lazy than energetic. Just feed me and then be happy. Agitate me. If I need, then we'll use my seichel. That's the bird. If I have to, we'll take a leadership role, we'll do something. It's not natural. If a person goes on vacation, what's his vacation? He goes on vacation, he's going to do something, accomplish something there, leadership. His goal, he works the whole year to go on vacation, do what? Do nothing. Behemoth. That's the more natural state, is behemoth. Which reminds me of a word I heard from someone about Mashpir by Fabrengen. He said, an older person, from himself, is more staid and more mature. This is the zelbe behemoth. He says you look at the young, the older behemoth is quiet, grazing, and the calf is frolicking. And what's the difference? He's older and heavy. You can't jump anymore. So he's mature and settled. But behemoth is the zelbe behemoth. The younger one is just more energy. So spring, dance, jumps and dances a bit. The calf, the foal. And then it gets heavier. At any rate, yeah, let's go a little bit further. No, we'll stop here. I'll continue tomorrow.